Thank you for attending today's event. One of the things that we're going to be doing during the course of the event today is monitoring any questions that you might have so we can address them at the end of the presentation. So if you look in your upper right-hand corner of your window, you'll see a chat button that I've got circled on the example in front of you right now. Use that chat button, type in any messages you've got between myself and Beth Riendo, who's in here with me today. We'll be able to see any of the questions come up. And again, we'll address those on a question-by-question basis at the end of the presentation today. Hello, and welcome to our discussion today about modular fixture considerations. My name is John Einberger. I'm Product Line Manager here at Makino, and I'm very pleased to announce our special guest today, Mr. Andy Popky, the founder and president of Tombstone City. Andy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me today, John.
So let's start out a little bit before we get into kind of the nuts and bolts of what we're going to talk about. Give us a little bit of background. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, how you found your way into this industry that you're involved in today, things of that nature?
Sure. Goes back to the year 2000. Good friend of mine and customer, Randy Neubauer from MinMax Machine, called me up and said, I need some tombstones. My response was, what's a tombstone? Well, I learned what a tombstone was and found Randy some really nice tombstones in Taiwan. And he got them and he liked them. And I thought to myself, you know, if Randy needs them, maybe someone else needs them. Went over to Taiwan, went to the factory, met with the people at Leave Industrial, and we worked out an agreement, and we've been selling tombstones ever since. Right here we have pictures. These are the first tombstones Tombstone City ever sold. These are actually 22 years old. They're still being used today. They're cutting some titanium aircraft parts is what they're doing.
Pretty good testament to the longevity and the quality of that product.
Yes, indeed. So going back to the factory, going back to Leave, they've done a big increase in machinery and equipment. They've built a whole new factory, and the cornerstone of that factory is the A99E that they put in about 2 years ago, and they have it tied into a 100 pallet pallet pool so that they can run this thing 24/7 pretty much. And since they've put that in, they've really split their tolerances way down. They're coming out with tolerances after inspection less than a third of the quoted specs, and they're just very pleased with the accuracy that they're getting out of this machine.
So really building a state-of-the-art product for your customer base.
Absolutely.
So a few years in being involved in this business, Andy, what changes and innovations have you seen really hit the market? What do you see affect your customers on a regular basis over that time span?
The big thing is people are going into different shaped tombstones, and the most popular tombstone that has appeared, and it really surprised me when this happened, is the cross column. And people just love that cross column when you put a modular vise on it. It gives you excellent tool access, and you don't have to use tools that are extensively long or too long. So that gives you a great ability to use shorter tools and a more rigid operation. So that's the big thing. And of course, the modular vise systems that we're offering now give you a lot of part ability to get more parts into your work envelope than you normally would with a conventional vise.
Yeah, that's something that we try to talk with our customers about on a regular basis. Keep the tooling very short, maximize productivity, maximize rigidity, and certainly minimize that perishable tooling cost. So Andy, you mentioned Leave as a manufacturing partner that you work with. What types of inputs does Tombstone City have with Leave? What kind of direction can you give them from the standpoint of product design, things of that nature?
Sure. Well, we've come up with a bunch of new products and a bunch of new ideas for machining on verticals. We now have this really nice tombstone that can go onto a rotary table, and that kind of turns your vertical into a horizontal machining center without a pallet changer. So this is a popular device that people are going for, and we've had good success with that tombstone for the rotary table. It fits on the rotary table on one end, and on the other end you'd have a support, some kind of a trunnion support or a tailstop.
So same idea, something for somebody to consider when looking for a system like this. Again, that ability to get multiple parts up, to get the use of very short tooling, high rigidity, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, this does give you the ability to get short tooling, because on this tombstone, the corners are notched out. And once you notch out your corners, you can go in with shorter tooling. And that's a real advantage.
So what do you attribute the popularity of the cross columns to, Andy? You said that was kind of a surprise. What are people really seeing as a takeaway to that product?
Well, people like the cross columns. You get really, really good access. You get the ability to use short tooling. And that's the key. When you're using the modular vices fit really nicely on the face of the cross column. And that's really the big plus. The short tooling to get you, nice rigidity. You don't have to worry about long tools.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about things from a more generalized standpoint. If a customer is looking to delve into the use of modular fixturing, what are some of the attributes that they should look for when making that type of product selection?
Well, one of the things, people have a misconception about modular work holding, and some people think modular work holding is only used in high production parts, but that's not really the case. We have a lot of people using them on small to medium runs, and because the jaws are so easily resettable, you can put 2, 3, 4 parts up there, and it's a quick setup time. And that saves a lot of production time. Being able to mount multiple parts and going back to those same positions over and over again by the markings on your modular vise to set your jaws.
So really that ability to keep that spindle spinning, keep producing chips, keep producing basically income.
That's it. You want to keep it running, and the modular vise system really speeds that up.
What setup advice, Andy, do you have for somebody that's, again, moving into the use of the modular fixture style product?
Well, one of the things that we've gotten people are interested in, they've wanted to be able to change vices very quickly. And we've come up with a system that lets you swap out a complete vise with the vise jaws, one shot, and you can change a vise in and out in about a minute. That's unbolting and rebolting. So if you have parts set up, you want to load them offline, you don't have to unmount the whole vise by the conventional method, which would be cap screws down the center. With these swing clamps, 1, 2, 3, have vices in and out, 1 minute time.
So that looks like a pretty good example of an option that you offer to customers.
Yeah, we had a couple of customers who wanted this a couple of years back, and we've now offered it out, and people are finding it a very, very good product to speed things up.
So high level of repeatability, putting those on, very interesting idea.
Yeah, one of the nice things about the modular vise system is at the back of the vise, there's 2 dowel pin holes. Those dowel pin holes reference the serrations where the jaws drop in. And because you have those dowel pin holes, you can just drop that vise right onto that tombstone and clamp it in place. You don't need to really indicate that vise in. That vise is going to repeat, and it's going to come back right where it was because of those dowel pin holes referenced to the vise body.
It also goes back and speaks volumes about the importance of that precision of the manufacturing that you touched on very early in today's discussion. So beyond the basic system itself, Andy, if you start thinking about accessory items, what items do you find useful from the standpoint of customer feedback? What are the customers telling you in that regard?
Well, probably one of the devices that people, or the items that people like quite a bit, are the serrated bolt-on pads. It's a heavy serrated pad. It bolts right onto the jaws, and they don't take up a lot of room. They're maybe 3/8 of an inch thick. And with that, if you're holding saw cut material that's uneven, you can really grip them, and you don't have to worry about parts coming loose. So that's a real great product. We started offering that a few years back after a customer asked for it. Another one, we have these nice serrated step jaws. So there's a scalloped serration on the top, and then there's a step, and you can hold on about maybe 3/16 of an inch of material, and these scalloped jaws will dig into the part, and the part really holds well. So that's a nice device when you only want to hold on a little bit of material. The other one, which we just came out, is this horizontal V-jaw. And with this horizontal V-jaw, you get the ability to hold a part up to about 2 3/8 inches in diameter. And that's really nice to be able to get that part into your vise and hold it and repeat your setup very easily. Of course, all these jaws are hardened and ground, and they're all matched. So you get a nice quality product when you're using these. Another product that we offer, we don't actually make this ourselves, but we work with a company called Carbonite, and Carbonite is a coating company, and they offer 5 different coating grits, from very, very fine, which almost you could barely feel the grit, to extremely coarse, which is at the very end. And the great thing about this, if you have parts you don't want to go and over tighten your jaws on, you can go with these type of jaws, and the coating will keep the part from slipping out without over tightening the part.
So you still get that lateral grip, so to speak, without squeezing that part too much.
Yes, you can cut down on your clamping force with these coatings, and even with the finest coating, which you can barely feel, makes a huge difference, and it will really not mar your part.
Andy, how can people learn more about Tombstone City and the products that you offer?
Well, that's real easy, John. You can just go to the website, tombstonecity.com. We've got the whole product line up there. We have all the CAD files. We have 2D and 3D models. You can email us at info@tombstonecity.com, or you can call us at the number right up on the screen there.
Andy, I really appreciate your time today. What we're going to do now is turn this over. A lot of times what we get during the course of these style live events is we get in questions. So let's turn it over to the audience and see what questions have come in. So Andy, I do have a number of questions that have come in here. The first one that's popped up, a question about clamp force. One of the things that you talked about quite a bit so far today. How much clamp force can a modular fixture generate? What is something that a customer should expect to be able to see on the high side of the amount of clamp force available?
Well, with the smallest vise that we offer, John, which is about a 2-inch wide vise, you can get about 2,200 pounds of clamping force. The mid-size vise, which is around 3 inches wide, that'll give you around 4,400. And the widest vise, which is 4 inches, that'll give you about 6,600 pounds, which is really quite a bit of clamping force. And in most instances, you don't really need clamping force that high, but it's there if you need it.
Yeah, and with the use that you talked about with some of the coatings that are available, certainly the ability to go quite a bit less force than that and still get that lateral location, get that lateral bite, so to speak.
Yes, that you can really cut your clamping force down if you need to by using the coatings. it definitely works. We've had very good success with it.
Okay. Next question that has come in, Andy. How does the cost of a modular fixture compare to a more traditional vise setup?
Well, a modular vise system will cost you more than a conventional vise. There's no question about it. Probably 50% more than a standard conventional vise. It could even run more than that. But you're getting much more of a product. A regular modular vise gives you the ability to hold up to 4 parts and more than 4 parts if you need it. But the standard modular vise out of the box will hold up to 4 parts. And that's something you can't do with a conventional vise. And of course, with the modular vise, if you want to hold 3 parts of a slightly larger size, or 2 parts, or 1 big part, you just take jaws out, and you have that ability to hold a variety of combinations of parts.
Okay. Next question, Andy, that's come in. Maybe it's already been touched on a little bit with the previous answer, but what sort of justification have you seen other customers use to buy a premium device like the modular vices shown?
Well, it's the ability to get more parts into the machine envelope than you would with a conventional single station vise. And that really is the key. You cut down on the number of tool changes and pallet changes you need by getting more parts in there. And you don't have to have high production to reap that benefit. Medium production runs and even smaller production runs will work just fine, and you're going to save quite a bit of time on tool changes and part changes.
Well, I appreciate that answer because it answered actually the next question that came in. Are modular fixtures used mainly for just high and medium volume, or are they usable for short run production uses also? And I think you already hit on that one.
Yeah, that's really a similar question. Yes, you can use them from small to high production runs, and they will work quite nicely because all the vices are match ground. You can just move jaws around, and they drop in the same places, and they repeat because of the match grinding of these vices. So that gives you that ability to run small or large production jobs and have a quick setup.
Okay. Next question, Andy, that's come in pertains to the 3D models that you offer people looking at your product. Specifically, the question asks, do the 3D models of the rail and the jaws have the inch markings on the side like they do in real life to be sure the jaw in the Mastercam file is exactly where it's supposed to be on the rail? Probably more of a use that from a setup standpoint.
Well, the 3D models, I don't believe have the serrations marked on them. The 2D drawings do, but the 3D models do not. What I will tell you, if somebody does need 3D models with the side markings put into them, just let us know and we can have that done for you. It's not a problem.
Okay, very good. Another question that's come in. Do you offer anything in the way of hydraulic vices, or is the product strictly manual clamp?
It's strictly a manual clamp. There's 2 options that we have. We have one-way clamping. You tighten one part at a time. And then we have 2-way clamping, which is a center wedge, and it pushes the wedge out together. With the 2-way clamping, when you tighten that center wedge, you clamp 2 parts at a time, and that will speed things up for you. But we do not offer anything in hydraulic.
Okay. Next question that's come in. Are the 3D models that you talk about free for simulation, or do you need to register, purchase them, do some kind of step like that in order to get access?
No, we make it real simple. There's no registration. You don't have to go and give us your email address. There's nothing to do. Just download them and use them and enjoy them. They're all step files, which is a fairly native format and easy to use. And we've got step files for all the vices. Then we have the individual jaws are up there. All the tombstones, angle plates, subplates, all those files are up there.
Okay, and just kind of closing out with a comment that's come in, very nice comment. It says Tombstone City has great products. We've used them for years and thoroughly enjoy them. So I certainly appreciate that comment from the standpoint of the people participating today. And as I say that, one more question just popped up. Can a custom hole pattern be machined by Tombstone City into the Tombstone base where it bolts onto the pallet?
Absolutely. We have our standard products that we have in stock. We'll have anywhere between 400 and 500 standard tombstones on the shelf, ready to go, fully machined. If you need something special, we can do any kind of special grid, special pallet mounting pattern. That's not a problem. We can accommodate any of those types of modifications.
Yeah, and I can certainly attest to that on a personal level. You've done some very nice custom work for Makino in the past, and we're very appreciative of that. So with that said, I'm going to round things out today. Any other questions that come in from the audience today, we'll continue to see them, and we'll be able to respond to them after the fact. We did have a quick pop-up question that came in. Are you sharing any handouts? We don't have any handouts registered today with today's presentation. But again, very easy to access all of the information that Andy talked about at tombstonecity.com. So, and another question closing out, are you recording this? Yes, we are, and we'll send out a link to everybody who registered today, whether they're able to participate real time or not, giving access to the recording. Also very easy to see on the www.makino.com webpage. If you go under archived events, this one will also be posted. So thank you very much, Andy. We appreciate your time and appreciate your insight. And we look forward to working with you also in the future.
Great. Thank you for having me, John.
Thank you.